Hello, everybody. This is Lee, and welcome. I haven't done a live stream in a couple days. Just been sitting back, relaxing, and resting. Sometimes you need a break from this, but there's several things I want to talk about today. A lot of busy stuff going on right now, and it's coming out of every place. First thing I want to discuss: there was a lot of really wicked stuff put up online over the last couple of days, and what they've been trying to do is blame John Wolfe for it, even though I know for a fact it isn't John Wolfe. And I'm going to play this video by John Wolfe. And just so everybody knows, today we have JC here. He's going to help me with the show today. Hey, JC, how you doing?
Good, good. Thank you for inviting me on, Lee. I appreciate it.
No problem. I'm going to play this one first, and
Later time, boy. So this is John Wolfe. I do not own an Instagram account. I do not own a face. I do not own a Twitter account. John Wolfe only has a YouTube account. That is all John Wolfe has. So if you get any news from John Wolfe from Instagram, Facebook, MySpace, AOL, whoever, it is not me. So
okay. Well, that's just to be fair to John Wolfe. I wanted to put that out there because there's a lot of really bad stuff going on Instagram. A lot of things being put up, horrible stuff, disgusting stuff, making fun of people that are dead, making fun of calling people gay, homosexual. It's disgusting, and so I know who it is. And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to get deep into that because, but I'm going to talk about the art of war. And also, I have JC here because JC wants to talk about another situation that's going on right now, world of this crazy world of YouTube. Now, I've given Stacks the opportunity to come on the show and defend himself. I sent him an email yesterday and he refused. So I'm going to let JC talk about what's going on. And Stacks, if you want to come in the show and jump on here, you're more than welcome because it's about you. And JC's just going to lay it out. And these are the facts. And you take it from there. JC, why don't you do your thing, my man?
Thanks, Lee. Thanks. All right, everybody. Before I get into Stacks, real quick, I put out a video. The last one I put out actually was about 6 days ago. And I threw a picture in there that had Jeff Canarsie in it with John Alite and then a third guy. And the main thrust of that video was to find out who the third guy was. Nothing for mob stuff. The guy's not an ex-mobster or whatever. I was going to ask him about something else unrelated to this, just a journalistic type endeavor. And I did not ask Jeff Canarsie to use any image with his picture on there in advance. And as a professional journalist, part-time, semi, whatever people want to call it, I should have used due diligence. I didn't check with him before putting it out there. And so I regret that I did that. And I just letting Jeff know, I don't have any kind of an opinion of him, bad or good. Obviously, folks, I don't know him. He and I have literally only talked by email just related to that video. So I told him I would take it down for the time being there. He reported it to YouTube, and so they would have probably taken it down anyways. And again, I regret I should have checked with him first. So anyhow, the picture is public no matter what. The picture in question is actually out there. So, it just, it's out there whether, anyone likes it or not. It had nothing to do with me. I got it from somebody else. Just so that
you took care of it. Let's move on from there. You took care of what you had to do.
Stacks, absolutely. So, with Stacks, he's another guy that I don't really have much of an opinion of. But we in the effort to get to the truth of things, we need to put out full disclosure. You know, he did his thing. He puts his thing out with Hootie and all that. And Hootie's also another guy that I don't have any love lost for either.
Thank you,
Obviously,
Diamond
we
Knight.
did our show. And with Stacks, him and Hootie had their issue, as you guys know, from a couple months ago. And there's an insight on here that none of you had heard about. Stacks actually approached me for two things. One, he hit me up for money to do an interview. He actually called me up out of nowhere about a week after. You know, you guys have been asking what happened between all you guys. Now you're going to hear it. He called me about a week after and he said, "Hey, JC, can I borrow $1,000? And I barely knew the guy and he's asking me for money. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? He's all, well, I got an interview that I can do. I got a high level mob guest that I'm going to get on the show. And I can sell the rights to the interview for like $5,000-$10,000, but I need to pay him for his appearance." And so I'm like, well, one, we don't know each other like that. You're asking me for that kind of money, and when I said, explain it further, let's hear some real details, he just said, oh, no. And he cut off the conversation and went, and apparently he went to others as well. But with me, he approached me a week after, and that's why I stopped talking to him literally 1 week after the whole Hootie and Stacks, Hootie and JC issues erupted like a volcano. And so carrying on, another thing, and this is even bigger in some ways, Stacks gave out the private cell number to a girl who is a fan of all of our shows. She follows me, follows John Alite, follows Jimmy Alite, follows Calandra, Hootie, Borello, everybody follows all of us. Just a regular chick that likes true crime stuff. And she had been, she chats with us occasionally. Stacks got into it a little bit more personal with her. And he got pissed off over something. She rejected him. And he goes and hands out her private number to some scumbag, some guy that is an absolute pile of trash, who also is a fanboy of many of our shows. He's a stalker type. He started sending her creepy ass messages. She actually sent me the screenshots from her private cell phone with this guy's like, "Hey, you don't know who I am" type texting. But
okay, hold on one second.
I know who
JC.
you are.
Okay, JC, hold on one second. So what you're basically saying is that Stacks basically liked this girl. The girl rejected him. So as payback, he gave her number out to somebody else.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So of all people,
and she's a fan of these shows.
Talking
and
like
she's a fan of these.
women,
I'm sorry, 1 second, JC. And she's a fan of these shows.
Yes.
And you have 100% proof that this really happened.
Oh, absolutely. She told me herself, and she sent me the screenshots from their private cell numbers. I have all of that. And then even worse, she went to Ori Spado, okay? Or she knew Ori. And then Ori called Stacks, and I was listening on the line, and Stacks flat out said I was the one who did it. And he's been spreading that rumor since. So since Stacks wants to front, like, I was going to let it go and let him just rumor monger on me for the last 2 months. But since he wants to present himself as this friend of women and this guy that's trying to help the women out, the record has to be made clear. That has to out. And if he wants to join on, come on, Stacks. I will debate you on this issue. And I got these screenshots right here, big guy, right here. You can fucking try me. Carry on, Lee.
Okay, well, Stacks, you were given an opportunity to come on and talk about this. And the main reason this has to be given out, because this is not how we do things here. We have people that come into these chat rooms that they're fans. We don't stop them. And we don't give out their phone numbers, especially of women. That is going below, way below. You might get mad at me, whatever. JC's coming here. He's presenting facts. If you want to come on here and defend yourself, you're more than welcome. And that's
and I don't take sides on
thing.
any of this. As you know, Lee, as you know, I'm cordial with Jimmy Calandra. I know you have your whatever thing. We're not going into that direction today. And I'm fine with Gene Borello, which a lot of people don't like either. I'm fine with I'm cordial with pretty much everybody. So, if he hadn't been out there, from what I understand, he's now trying to say that $2,000 that him and Hootie had an issue over has to do with me when it didn't. So he wants to keep with the lies and the BS. Eventually, the record has to be set straight. And that's where we are right now. So it's nothing against him per se. If he were to apologize to me, I would accept his apology.
Okay, you said your part. It's over. We're going to move on to the Alites now. Okay.
There you go.
So as you know, I got pretty close to the Alites for about 3 weeks. And one thing that really disturbed me was something that Jimmy Alite was talking about. Jimmy Alite was talking about the art of war. Basically, what that he was saying is, in the beginning, you go along with people, you're friendly with them. And then after that, you threaten them a little bit. Then after that, you can literally send somebody to their house. And this I know because he asked me specifically for Bald Sicilian's home address. And I told him, no, I'm not going to release no home address to nobody. First of all, I don't know it, and I wouldn't do it. I got this stuff all down, on recorded calls. This is how dirty these people are. We're beyond anything. I mean, we're talking, this is the internet. This is mafia crime shows. And we're talking about some sick shit going on behind the scenes here you can't make this stuff up. And, for him, what do you think about for the fact of him asking for somebody's address to send someone to their house to scare them?
Well, that's actually a form of doxing, and doxing is snitching. So, and it's threatening and beyond that. If whatever it is, with you guys on that is someone asking for that in general is doxing and that kind of stuff. Normally guys like you and I, Lee, and others, we would prefer to be doing shows about our stuff. Every day that I have to deal with this drama, Lee, is one less day that I'm doing a story from the West Coast, a story about car thefts or weed running or gambling or whatever. That's one less day. So for those of you, and I'm seeing your comments saying, what is this drama, blah, blah. Hey, this stuff has to be finished off so that you can move on and get to the real meat and potatoes of what our shows are supposed to be about. Lee is a journalist. He obviously is getting to the bottom of things in general with his show. And so, you got guys that say, oh, he's a snitch or he's a doxer or whatever. And you got guys doing that shit. And glass houses, guys, right, Lee? Glass houses?
Well, let me tell you this one. If you see the attack that they did on me in the last 2 days, and bringing my family into this, bringing my brother into this, bringing suicide into this, making up horrible, horrible lies. And then on top of that, you have people here online that are saying that I have other accounts, that I go into most ridiculous stuff. I have one account. I'm no computer whiz where I go and get all these silly accounts. But this is what they're doing. They're trying to discredit everybody. This is their game. This is how the Alites work. Discredit, go after, turn everybody another. Now, just so you do know, it was about almost 2 weeks ago that I told Chris Kasparos, I said to him, I said, Chris, I got this guy on recordings that he's asking me where Bald Sicilian lives. And when I said to him, why do you want that address? He says, we can send someone down there to scare him. That's the fact of the matter. You can deny it, but it's all coming out.
There's a difference, Lee, between the guys like Chris Kasparosa. I like Chris. I think he's funny and he's witty and he's educated, so I can relate to him. Plus, he used to be in the mix and he left it like I did. And so I like him. And I know that others I like also, I'm cool with, may not like that, but I'm my own man, as is anybody else. He does it the right way. He gets the info, and I've seen him on shows where someone says something and he'll say, hold on, that hasn't been proven yet. And that's even about guys he's not a fan of. And then there's a different way to do it, Lee. There's the old way to do it, the intimidation way to get your message across.
And here's another thing about the innocent little brother. Okay. So he sits in this room. He doesn't want to leave this room. God knows why. Okay. You know, MRE put it best. You know, we kind of have an idea why. But he's like the little lost brother that will do anything to please the other brother who's controlling him and making him do these fucked up things. And on top of that, this guy sends me a picture of this woman that's on another show from Austria. And he says to me, and this is when I really started getting frustrated at these guys. They were trying to use me to attack people. And so he gave me some pictures of this young lady and said, can you put these out there? And the pictures, she's not in her best behavior. You know, she's not behavior. Maybe she woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Let's put it that way. But you have Jimmy Alite asking me to put these pictures out of other people online to attack them. So I put the picture to the side. Never did I put it out. I already talked to Sicilian about them asking for the address, his address, and he'll deal with it later on today. But you know something, guys, Alites, you wanted to create a fight. You put up those pages. You've been humiliating Angel now for how long? Then you guys take down the pages last week, and then you put them back up. And then you tried to blame John Wolf for it, who was like really pissed that you're doing that to him. They put Jewish people on the page with stars and stuff and say, look, it's John Wolf. This is how these people think. This is how demented and twisted the Alite brothers are.
Yeah, look, it's across the board. Again, I don't have an opinion per se because I've talked to John Alite literally one time for 1 minute, and it was him asking to come on the show before he did your interview, by the way. And he wanted to do the same interview on my show pretty much, and have me put out stuff. But if you notice, Fat Bald Sicilian also has an issue with Alite, and he goes into it in a completely legitimate way. Fat Balds, I know whatever you guys have is your guys' thing. I'm out of that situation. But Fat Bald Sicilian had his wife attacked by these guys. And
yes.
Why is it across the board with like 95%?
Let me explain that.
Alite is a problem. You know?
1 second. Let me explain this. And just so you know, when they attacked me, they also went after his Sicilian's wife. And they went after Sicilian.
And look,
they went after 1 second.
Yeah, go ahead.
They went after stuff that happened in the past. And, you know, this is it. And, you know, this is getting so ugly. These people are so ugly. They're filthy animals. So the only way...
Lee, what I really think's going on here, and this is a little bit bigger than all this, and I've said this on some of my own shows, these handlers for these guys, these former FBI handlers that handle their media, handle their public relations, they are directing a lot of this. They tell them to do this stuff. They tell different people to behave a certain way, make up a fake account, slander so-and-so. And it's terrible. And that's one of the themes I've gotten into as well, that we have to put these former feds in check.
Well, I don't want to talk about that.
In the long run, that's where I am going.
Hold on. I don't want to talk about that on this show. Attacking the feds is a losing cause when you're online. Not the
FBI itself. I'm talking about these handlers, these ex-FBI handlers.
I understand. I'm not saying
they take PR and they manipulate it. I happen to have a degree in journalism, and I know PR guys that do it the right way. And I was one who did it the right way. So it's an affront to me when these guys...
Wait. Jimmy Alite, hold on. Jimmy Alite has no handlers. Jimmy Alite is doing this because his brother's telling him to do it. So that's Jimmy Alite, you know, and then you have all these guys fighting behind the scenes. You know, you have Hootie going out it with Stacks, and neither one of them's going at it with either one of them, because they have a lot of question marks. People bring up some shit from my past. I tried to cover it. I brought out a whole show on it 2 days ago, and that's that. But what these guys are doing, when you start talking about stalking people, we're entering a whole new area here. And when you got Jimmy Alite talking about going to someone's house, that's a whole new area. So here's what you don't know, Alite brothers. I got you on everything. So you could say whatever you want to do. You could threaten to sue me. You could put up more of those fucked up pictures that you put up of my brother. You can do that. But the more you guys do, the 10 times harder I'm going to come at you. And so will Bald Sicilian. And, so you take it from there, Jeff.
Yeah, well, again, I don't know Jimmy and I don't know John, so I leave my opinions at the door personally. But as far as a professional, I would say that they're handling it. And whoever's telling John or whoever to do this is misleading them, and it's going to wreck their careers. If I was handling them, I would take them in a completely different direction, and I'm not going to do their careers because that's too big of a job for me. But and plus I don't like the tactics that's been used. I would never get involved with that. But being an observer who knows the industry, I'm telling you that a lot of this stuff is coming from these guys that are a lot smarter than these street guys. They're the ones that put it in their head. They wind
Jeff,
them up.
Answer 1 second. Mike said, show the proof 100%. I already told you I was showing the proof. There's lots of proof out there, and we're working on it right now. It's all going to come out. And these guys ain't going to do anything to me because they know I got the proof. And that's all there is to it. Okay? So that's what it comes down to. And all the proof is coming out. I'm setting it up on a website right now, a free website that everybody can go in and see this stuff. And then I'm already talking to somebody else about having part of this stuff too. So I'm not going to be the only one that has it. Now, the person that has it is very respectable. And that's what it comes down to. We're talking about good investigative reporters here. I'm not talking about me. I have my show here, but I'm talking about someone that has a really good reputation. And that's pretty much what it's coming down to.
Yeah, there was a comment from Angel Gotti that I noticed. She pointed out, she said to someone else something about a former NYPD detective working with them. She's right, probably. I wouldn't doubt that at all. A lot of those ex-law enforcement guys, the same guys that allegedly were chasing these guys and trying to put them away, end up getting in good with them because they informed, and then they start working with them doing this stuff. And some of them are creating these online beefs as well. And I'm pursuing that angle on a few things. And Angel Gotti is absolutely right. Some guy was trying to tell her that it wasn't true. No, she's probably right on that. A lot of these guys are. It's the same. Chris Casparosa is right too. When he says that a lot of these guys, these ex-feds or ex-cops, they're pushing this. And if you think about it, they don't care if actual real-world violence happens. Like if someone stalks somebody, let's say, it's not on them. They look at it like the stupid street guy. He's the one who did it, not me. So when violence happens, they profit, they make a ton of money, and somebody else takes the blame and the responsibility.
Yeah, and then you wonder, when this show's over, actually, Tommy Dades, this is a very Dominic, you're absolutely right. Tommy Dades was on Calandra's show yesterday, but Tommy Dades also has a lot of stuff. He was forced to step down from the police force, and then on top of that, Tommy Dades also had a fight with another fellow cop, broke his ribs, broke his spleen, and then when the police showed up at the scene, the guy never got charged, even though there were witnesses that say that they seen Tommy Dades kicking him and breaking his ribs and pounding the daylights out of him on the ground. So when you have cops doing that and they're getting away with it, like Tommy Dades, that guy has a whole story on him. All you got to do is Google it. Look at the articles and stuff on Tommy Dades. He's as bad as the guys he arrested.
Yeah, you know what? And throughout the 80s and 90s, Lee, it was the same story out here. There was cops that were corrupt. That if you saw the headlines from the 90s, especially in the early days of the meth business, which started out here in my county, actually, back in the earliest days, it was way more common than one would think. Now it's getting a little bit better because technology makes it harder to be corrupt. But back then it was not that difficult. And so a lot of the guys, they've moved on. Their careers ain't in law enforcement anymore. It's out here. pushing informants upon the public and creating and fostering snitch culture.
And then
in my world, I don't appreciate that. But I'll grant. I've already said I would grant one exception. Anybody that's an informant who used to be, who now is telling the young people to not do it, and they're genuine about it, and the keyword's genuine, then I won't get in their way, so to speak. But anybody out there besides that, look out, because
here's what I think about that. Here's what I think about that. Here's what I think about with the rats with the kids. It's all a bunch of bullshit.
Well, yeah, 99% of the time.
Yeah, none of these guys are going to no schoolyard. I asked John Alite to show me pictures of him with kids, and he could barely show me anything. He showed me a couple pictures of him standing in front of buildings and taking pictures. I said, John, how about a group of kids where you can actually show me you with a group of kids? And they were never kids. They were 20, 22, 23 years old. Give me a picture of you with Geraldo Rivera. How about you in an actual meeting with a classroom full of kids?
Yeah.
Not college students.
What's an easy way to tell? What's an easy way to tell if they're having handlers? Look what they get away with. If they can say the N-word on a broadcast and nothing happens, they're probably being handled. If they can commit crimes while being, doing this stuff, and they're not getting prosecuted, or they're getting really light cases, they're probably being handled. If they can slander and defame people at will and nothing happens, they're probably being handled. You guys got to use your heads, folks. Use your heads. Now, not everybody's being handled, all right? I'm not going there with that crap. But there are some people out there that I believe are being handled. And that's the key to breaking this entire thing and putting a giant sledgehammer through it. I don't care if my channel blows up personally. My business does fine. I was doing fine before YouTube. I'll be fine afterwards. But I will view my channel as being a success if it breaks the back of the bullshit artist rats.
And then you got people like, just this name right here. Fat, broke, bald, unemployment Sicilian. This is classless. I mean, Mob Rats, you played his video and praised him. Mob Rats, we know what I did, and I know why I did it. You can keep saying this all you want, Mob Rats, but you're as much part of the problem as anybody else. Angela, we got a rat lover, John Wolf. I'm embarrassed. Lee, what about a baseball career? Like can't pass. No evidence whatsoever. I asked him point blank if he had any pictures of him in a baseball uniform. I said, anything. Do you have any type of pictures of you doing it? He could not come up with anything. Absolutely anything.
And that's that Al Bundy, I threw 4 touchdowns at Polk High bullshit, where guys in our age group get nostalgia, I did this back in the day, and trying to act like that there was some big time opportunity in life that was blown when there wasn't one. I played like 4 or 5 sports in high school. I was in the center of my yearbook my junior year, the same year I got kicked out of school for grand theft and burglary and shit, by the way. But the yearbook, I'm right in the middle hitting the volleyball, and I had a hops. I had an actual possibility, which I did blow by getting in trouble with the law. And later on, after I turned 18, I blew any chance of ever being an attorney or a lawyer. I could have been a kick-ass one with the way I argue. I blew that. I was barely 6 months into my 18th birthday. And so there's guys out there like me who did actually have a legit chance in this area or that. But you know what I did? I just shifted focus, and I'm successful elsewhere.
Okay, Horatio Sands, as Michael French says, a rat. That's for you people to determine. The fact of the matter is he did rat. He admits he ratted. But it's for you to determine. Did he turn his life? Wait, let me finish. Did he turn his life around legitimately? Does he do a lot of good things? I think he does do a lot of good things. I mean, you don't see Sammy Gravano with a group of kids.
Yeah. And I'll give him that too. Yeah, the short answer is yes. Yes, he was an informant. What I didn't like about Francis was he came out to the public initially advertising himself as the only guy in mob history to have walked away without getting whacked and walked away without informing. And later on, it comes out, and then he's like, well, I didn't put anybody in jail informing. And then it's, well, I testified at a hearing.
Let me finish this. Angel says, mob rats exposed, knows better than to show his face. The same people, you know what? That's where I owe mob rats an apology. Because, yeah, you know what, mob rats, if I could do it all over again, I would do it. As, you know, the reality is, this is brutal. The attacks are brutal. So
yeah, absolutely. And Angel knows that more than most. You know, that's the profile that was dissing her, which it's down now, so I'm not going to get into whoever, whatever. But they put me on there and said that her and I are having like a MILF type affair kind of thing. And, you know, they threw all this stuff out there. They put
wait a minute, you're older. Wait.
People,
wait a minute.
You know,
you're older. Wait, how could it be MILF? You're older than her.
Yeah, I'm 80. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm 80 years old. I look pretty good. I got brown hair still for the most part. But, you know, they did all this stuff. And they've done it to everybody else, too. And I got it as well, you know. But
okay, I want to get some
guys.
Okay, I want to get some of these things in from the people. Lee, you should do a show on what's happening in Afghan and how the No, I don't want to even deal with politics. It's all a bunch of BS. I'm sorry. You deal with politics in here, it'll shut your station down. I'm sorry, your channel down. Shane Moore, they got 1302 with nothing on it on Junior. Sounds like, yeah, that's true. Junior gave up. Okay. By your guys' logic, Junior would be considered a rat and Junior isn't a rat. No, I don't consider him a rat at all. No one ever went to jail.
I disagree. He informed. If you sit with them and you give them information, whether they use it or not, you ratted. Now, the question is, how bad is it? Not bad at all, really, for the most part. He did one thing, and it was a long time ago. And do you see John Jr. coming out scamming the public for the kids? No, he is like a mouse compared to freaking New York sewer rats. Okay, that's the difference. I think he's all right. I've seen his interviews and what he does do. He seems to be very well managed, and he comes off as likable. And he seems to be doing positive things. More power to him. As I said, I don't have a problem if guys have turned it around and they're genuinely being positive.
Okay, let me read this. The stuff on the IG account says my family is sick. It absolutely is. It's so sick and demented. And you know what? Facebook should be ashamed that they can block every minor shit, but you know they'll let this stuff go up. I mean, it's horrible what they're doing with that company. Just putting this stuff. Instagram they should be ashamed of themselves that they're letting people do this.
Real quick, just to clarify the rat thing, if you're on YouTube, and whether you inform to the government or not, you're now in the same category. Under the original rules, we're not supposed to talk to the government or the media. You wouldn't see Carlo Gambino going on YouTube if it was around back then. You wouldn't have saw, any of the guys from the 1930s, Luciano, maybe Al Capone perhaps, because he was a little bit like that, but even he probably would have been cool. So you wouldn't see them doing that. Anybody on YouTube, if you've ever been in the criminal world, mob, gangs, prison, whatever, you're now a rat of sorts. So I take the freaking responsibility for it. I went on YouTube. It is what it is, and I am intellectually honest about this. So I don't snitch on others. I don't talk about other crimes that have nothing to do with me or guys that I haven't gotten permission from. So I'm good there. But the fact that I'm even on here is enough for it. So I'm in.
Okay, slow down. Let's read some of that stuff. Okay, John Alite is envious of Junior because he can't be. Junior is a good man. He's with his family all the time. You don't hear this crap. That's the reality of it. Yes, Stacy, that is true. I'm agreeing with you on something. Okay, Jeff Loman, Angel has a crush. See, John Wolf, I'm going to block you, dude, if you get disrespectful one more time. Come in here and have a normal conversation. I put up your video, and I really backed you up, but now you're just becoming real stupid, John. Please cut it out. poor John Wolf message got deleted. Okay. Well, John Wolf is like acting like a jerk right now. So,
well, so much
he
for
deserves it.
that compliment and short-term relationship, huh? You try to help the guy.
Yeah, well,
Lee.
but this is the problem with people. They take this stuff so serious. I mean, you come in the room here, you try to humiliate people. It's like we want to do shows on true crime, mafia stuff, but a lot of people don't let us do these shows. It's like you don't want to. It's like just people say, "Oh, Lee, you're full of drama." So what am I supposed to do? Let people just put up pages of my family, or what is Angel supposed to do when they do it to her?
Exactly. Yeah. And a lot of these guys, they have forgotten the lessons of the old school days. Back when we used to have conflicts back then, we would sit down and somebody older than us would mediate it. Now, I was hoping Stacks, for instance, would stop yapping about this stuff. And sure enough, he keeps going and going and going. And even though he was hitting Hootie primarily, he's also aiming his bullshit at me. And I was like, okay, 2 months into this, I got to, set the record straight. Normally, I would never even deal with him. The guy would have never been on our level. He ain't even on Hootie's level for that matter. So, but 2 months of just whispering and yapping on YouTube as well and pointing bullshit at me. Well, no, you got to take responsibility for yourself, pal.
I got a video right now I want to dedicate to MRE because he kind of started this. It was kind of funny, so maybe he'll get a kick out of it. Whoops.
Sure.
What age you are, you're always battling it. You're always worried about
each week
happening again. Fast and Lilo had an agreement not to talk about the officer.
That's
Guaranteed.
Judy. No, it's not Judy.
The fuck?
Yes, it is. Of course.
This is
Why
your
am I
opinion.
on there?
Yes, I said this is my opinion,
What?
Jeff. Did I say it was your opinion?
It's not
Am I
you.
allowed to have an opinion?
What's that? My trial?
Okay, ask him to do this show.
The fuck is this?
I don't.
Julia,
No,
it's not you. It's a TV
no,
program.
absolutely not.
Movie.
I did this on my own because it's my show and I can do what I want to do on here.
Angel just made a comment that I'm not the quarter of the man her brothers. Angel, I think your brother's a good guy. Okay, I think he is. I just said the 302 is an informant move. Okay, that's being honest. I think what he does is positive, and it's good. He's actually one of the better examples of somebody that moves on from this. Your brother's not out here fronting like he's gonna, help the kids and all that. Not saying anybody else is per se either, but he in particular, he's not out there doing it. Okay, so it's no disrespect, Angel. Okay, but the fact is that when you sit with the cops and the feds and you tell them information, whether they use it or not, it's still that move. And I admitted I am a rat now because I'm on YouTube. I'm talking about crimes that I should not be talking about. So
listen. Wait a minute.
I'm in the same category.
Okay. Our problem right now is not with John Gotti Jr. He's not the one out here doing things to people. That's what it comes down to. Okay, Lee John Wolf is going to put pins in voodoo dolls again. Yes, he put pins in a voodoo doll to kill me. Stacks is a joke wannabe. What Stacks did the other day, listen, I can't stand Hootie. To me, Hootie's not a nice guy. But what he did by coming on there and going over to 302s and do not attack somebody if you have a bunch of shit in your past. That's worse than what you're attacking that guy for.
Parasite Slayer said that Junior has a 302 that's 4 pages versus 200 for Alite. He's accurate. That's the truth. That's the truth. I mean, it's, again, he did one small thing and it's forgivable, I guess. Not my problem.
Craig Robertson, I didn't bring you on here to attack John Gotti Jr., Jeff.
Yeah, I know, and I'm not. But Angel's thinking I am.
That's not what you are. I mean, that's the reality.
No, not at all. No, the 302 that's an informant move.
Okay.
If
How
I
many
sat with
folk,
the police, it'd be the
including
same thing.
idiots? Okay. How many folks, including idiots like this, have made a living off Gotti's name? Yeah, he's made a lot of money off Gotti's name. I mean, look at the book he wrote and everything and what he did. You know, there's no doubt. Okay, I appreciate you being on, Jeff. I'm gonna let you go right now, my man. But thank you
All
for
right.
coming
Thanks, guys.
on. Okay. We're going to get back. If you guys want to ask me some questions, we basically said what we had to say. I couldn't get a word in edgewise, so basically it's now me. So we're just going to read some questions that you have here. And basically, we're talking about the Alites. And what I can promise you is that there's a lot of stuff coming out on them, and it's going to be happening very shortly. Stuff's just about organized and in the proper folders and stuff. And I got to make a decision what I'm going to release to a certain person and what I'm going to put on the website that's being built right now. Junior told over. Okay, let's see. I didn't attack Junior. How is the truth of 302? JC, you just got off. Why you? Come on, dude. Seriously? I'll save this video for the right day. Slenderous stuff, JC. Yeah. Okay. Well, you know something. That's the one thing. When you bring guests on, they're guests, and you don't know where they're going to go or what they're going to say, because nothing is staged here. Everything is real. And the biggest problem when you do something live is you never know what you're going to get. I like JC. I can call him out, but thanks, Horatio. Okay. Junior words on the video put out. No one is him. Okay. JC, you're another guy that without facts tells stories. At least do your homework. Well, the main reason I brought JC on to talk about the Stacks things is that's his story. He put it out there, and now Stacks has to deal with it with him. But if it's true Stacks, I wouldn't even deal with it. I would just try to stay away from it because someone's out here claiming that you're stalking them. Will you have JC back? Sure. JC will come back again. Why not? You know, listen, he said something. I might disagree with it and stuff. But I would have him back. I just disagree with him. That's it. The truth is, defense, B says slander charge. I have a degree in journalism, clown. I could quote you every single First Amendment case. Okay. Gene, that's what rats always say. That's why they're rats. Give Armory the info, sit back and watch him bury a liar. You know what? If he was decent and came to me and actually talked to me about it, I would consider that, but he's being a real asshole about it. So it's hard to talk to a guy that he'd rather take care of me and get me out of the way than these rats. But if MRE wants to contact me, he's more than welcome to call me. I will give him my phone number, and I will work with MRE in any way he wants to work. But I don't think that's what he wants. Think about Junior and why the government go after him 5 times, hard to convict him. Well, exactly. They went after him 5 damn times. You know, think about it. 5 times. They didn't go after these other guys 5 times. I like justice for everyone is around on YouTube. I'll get past it. I don't believe Barella's out. Just so you do know that. JC, you just left the show. I mean, come on, dude. You know, you said what you had to say. That's it. Move on. JC, you didn't do research. Journalism degree. Angel, can't you sue a liar for fraud and defamation of character? Angel can handle herself. She's doing what she has to do here. And whatever happens. But the Alites picked us up another notch when they try to do this stuff, and they're attacking people now. And they did it, and people that I thought maybe wanted to change their life didn't do anything to stop it. So in reality, nobody wants to change their life. They all want to be the same and continue being the same. So it's nasty motherfucker time. Krummel, did you block Gene? I'm not sure if he did, but someone said to Gene, "What are you doing here?" And maybe Gene just decided he didn't want to deal with that and left. You know, I mean, that's all that I could think about right now. You know, the one thing about when you do a show here, you never know what to expect. Everything is live. Everything, you know, I put out a video the other day that wasn't live. That's the first time I did one like that. And it kind of felt good because when you go live, shit happens. You just never know what's going to happen. Who's going to say what? Who's going to go after who? You know, so, you know, there's been evidence put out there. There's going to be more evidence put out there on the Alites. They're going too far. It's time for them to be shut down. That's what it comes down to. Mickey Griggs, the Alites think they're above the law better than... They almost are above the law. Look at the shit they're getting away with. They almost are above the law. I mean, this is like the most ridiculous thing. You had a man literally say to me, "Do you know their address so we can send someone to scare them?" So basically that man's admitting that's what Alite does. He sends people to people's houses. And there's evidence. They've done it to other people too. I'm not going to name these other people. They can say who it is. This is not the first time that Alite's done this. He's done this to other people too. This is what they want to do. Damn, JC, did you tell Lee to hit the raft? No, Zagazoo, he didn't say anything. I just thought it was best that at that moment that, you know, he came on as a guest, he did his stuff, and that's that. Are you sure it is Alite? Couldn't it be one of the fanboys? No, absolutely not, Parasite Slayer. I know for a fact who it is. Believe me. There's ways to know who it is. They got their groups, and we got our group of nerds. That's the difference. Alites are loved. Yes. You know, most times when you are a snitch, you become part of the police force. And anytime anything goes on, you have to let the police know. Isn't it funny when you see a rat show up with the cop that was part of their investigation? That's scary. So you have someone that comes on and says, "Hi, how you doing, guys? I'm a rat." "Oh, here's the cop that was on my case." That is what's scary. Alite has the FBI in his pocket. Yeah, they have their handlers in their pocket. They get handlers. And these handlers become, they like the celebrity of that, you know. And I'm going to tell you something. Speaking of John Alite, it's like, he's not that smart, but he's devious. He's not a very educated man, but he's a very devious man. And there's no doubt about that. He's willing to do anything to stay where he is at that level. You know, with his fake vacations. I still have people arguing with me that he was in Hawaii, that he was in Florida. Even though the fact that I know that he was calling me from somewhere else that wasn't Florida or Hawaii. And you still have people defending him. I appreciate that JC is consistent on topic. These handlers also, yes, they do. You know, these handlers, that's what they do. It's getting so bad now that people know that they can commit crimes and get away with it. They know they can commit murder. It's like if you got one murder and you go talk about someone that committed 2 murders, the guy with 1 murder gets away with it. Then the guy with 2 murders talks about a guy with 3 murders, and so on and so on and so on. That's how bad it's getting. It used to not be this way. It used to be when someone went, like when Joe Valachi, when he sold out, he was a driver, as everybody knows. And when he started snitching, Joe Valachi, he still stayed in prison. You know, it's not like they gave him totally out. They made his life a little bit easier, but he still stayed in prison. These guys totally get out and get allowed to walk the street. You literally have Samuel Govano walking the street, and he has no remorse about nothing he's done in his life. None. Cops have rats, do their dirty work, let them off with an envelope. Perfect example, the police officer that was on with Jimmy Calandra yesterday. All you got to do is check his past. He literally had to step down off the force because he was having an affair with a woman that actually was related to the case that he was looking at. All you got to do is Google his name, read back. It's articles in the Post and the Daily News. You know, I got 1,000 people hitting me up yesterday on my email saying, hey, Lee, do you know who this cop is? This is how corrupt this cop is. He beat up one of his friends, broke the ribs, ruptured his spleen. And then he got away with it. They didn't want to prosecute him because he was a hero cop, even though he beat the shit out of his friend. His friend. Junior Liddy, right? That's not true. It's crazy. Many people use VPN today. It's so simple. IPA. Yep. VPN actually works very good. Whenever I come on, that's the first thing I turn on is my VPN to make sure that I'm protected. Let's face it, Alite guys are both going back and forth and screaming online. You never see Junior screaming at anybody online. Mob Rat Wars, we're fans of Stacks, but we got to realize he messes up. Going public and private divorce papers is a beta move. You know what, Mob Rat Wars? You're absolutely right. It was a bad move. It was ugly. You know, just when I even suggested it, I got attacked viciously. This guy did it. He actually did it. And why did he do it? Because of an angry ex-wife that gave him the information. Here's how much child support my ex-husband owes me. Here, you know, he's actually giving him this information and he's falling for it. And then he puts a picture of a rat up there. It's like, dude, come on, really? Is he smashing who? I doubt it. Ask Jeff Lickman if Junior routed attorney, also Chapo and others. Wasn't Stack's paperwork just a letter from a private attorney? Yeah, you know, and that's it. It was a letter from a private attorney, and he tried to make it into a lot more than what it was. It was a bullshit move. And this dude don't even know me, and he's insulting me. You know, I have never even met him. And he has Jimmy Calandra on, and he's insulting me, calling me a cornball. It's like, dude, you don't even know who the fuck I am. Now you know I'm not the guy you call cornball. Lee, I dislike it a lot. You know, Junior, Chris work away online for him. Do you think Stacks ruined his YouTube credibility? Yes. When he pulled that move, I know a lot of people were nauseous. I know I was nauseous. I was like, are you kidding me? And I can't stand Hootie. But the fact that he did that was fucked up. You know, it's actually a few fries short of a Happy Meal. Lee Cole's pickle tongue. Wow. What are you wowing about, my man? Let me know. Okay. I really want to know about that. Absolutely. Summer Chambers, did I? Yes, I did. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. I made some mistakes, but I didn't do what these guys are doing. What these guys are doing is beyond that. I basically wanted to get as much as I can in the Alites, and nobody was getting close to them. That's the reality of it. And I don't give a shit who believes me. I don't give a shit if Mob Rats believes me. It's a jealousy thing with Mob Rats more than anything. When you do 5 shows in a row attacking somebody, me, instead of going after the rats, something's wrong. And the only time I bring up Mob Rats is when he attacks me. You know, God bless him. Let him go do what he has to do. But if he attacks me, I'm going to attack him back. It's going to be stupid. And this thing is going to go on forever because I'm not going to back off and he's not going to back off. So I'm telling him, just leave me the fuck alone, dude. I'll leave you alone. Lee, did you see JC Capone on Stack's show that Hootie never wrote? Yes. I'm glad you brought that up. This is where I owe him an apology to Hootie because JC Capone said that he was never robbed. And I think a few other people owe him apologies too. And when Sicilian had him on, Sicilian just did a show about Stacks. I'm sorry, just did a show about Capone. And I already apologized to him. My show was based off what Mob Rats did. You know, Mob Rats attacked him hard. And Mob Rats had every reason to attack him hard because Hootie is what Hootie is, but Hootie doesn't want to admit what he is. That's where everything is a little crazy here. But Stacks is nobody to question Hootie. You know, he's acting like he's better than Hootie. Dude, you're not better than Hootie. You're probably worse than Hootie. Then you're challenging him to a fight, dude? You're on video. We seen you fight. You got beat up in your own house. So you shouldn't be challenging people to fights if you can't win a fight in your house. Kasparos Jr. friends, yeah, they do. Friends, without a doubt. People only go after Alite because he is not Italian. That's not why they only go after Alite. That's the silliest thing I ever heard, Joey. Nothing personal. They go after Alite because he continuously fabricates his life. And, you know, let's put it this way. If the man just talked about his life, okay, if he wrote that book, let's say he wrote that book and said John Alite's life stories instead of Gotti rules, would you have bought that book if the Gotti name wasn't on it? So let's say you showed up and there's the book and it said Johnny Alite. Would you have bought the book if the Gotti name wasn't on it? You know how many people I know that said they bought the book because they thought it was about the Gottis and then they started reading it, it was about Alite? It was brilliant. It was brilliant whoever put that marketing plan of putting Gotti's name on it. I don't know if it was they call him Anesthesia, but Anesthesia, was it Anastasia that actually came up and said, let's call it, name it after Gotti, so people would think it's about Gotti and the Gottis wrote it? How many people got that book and thought the Gottis wrote it? Did I miss something? What did John Alite do now? What hasn't he done? He has his people out there attacking people's families viciously, attacking people who are dead, attacking people's families left and right, with vicious, vicious stuff that nobody would even consider doing a normal mind. Shouldn't he said no comment? Ian Kelly, shake my head. One more, one Lee, MRE said he bought the book because it said, yeah, and not only MRE, I believe Cillian said the same thing. He said the same exact thing. He said he thought the guy who wrote the book, and then he bought it. Me, I'm lucky. I didn't buy the book, you know. Big time rap moved by Stacks to use Hootie's ex-wife against him. Oh gosh, you're not joking. Ex-wives, ex-husbands, when they go to war, why would you listen to an ex-wife? Tell me where you lied. Let's see this. Okay. Michael Hensley, how did he make Capone look weak? MRE did a good job. He got Jay Capone a lot of subscribers. Yes, he did. Yep, he did. He did. Personally, I think Jay Capone was being hustled and he just doesn't want to admit it. You know, why else would Hootie be there with his arm around you and talking all this shit? Because he's your friend? Hootie got beat up in his house. Okay, do you got some proof of that? No, Hootie did not get beat up. I don't have no evidence that Hootie got beat up in his house, but I got evidence that Stacks got beat up in his house. That's for sure. Hey, I don't even have to ask for stuff. My emails, when I open my emails up, there's like 1,000 things in them. People send me all sorts of stuff. You'll be shocked at stuff that I receive. I'll be honest with you. I have the video of Stacks getting beat up in his house. But I'm not going to show it unless Stacks gets stupid with me. That's basically what it comes down to. If you get stupid with me, then I show it. Otherwise, you know, get stupid with JC. JC came on, said these things about him, but JC heard these things. JC spoke to people. JC got the proper evidence. Did these things. And Stacks, you gave a woman's phone number away to somebody because she rejected you. That's like bottom of the barrel scumbag shit. Are these on Instagram again? I guess I need to get on Instagram. Well, Parasite, if you think that that's what you want to do, good luck with you, man. You know, it's not anything to read when they are going after people's families, when they go after brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers. If that's what gets you off, if you think that's the great thing, then you're going to do what you want to do. But it's just not funny. I was told there would be a batch of John A. Like homemade tendies served in this chat. Mob Roars, it was a ruse to fool the feds. It was foolish move. His attorneys on the case, Jack Lippman, says it's clear as day he didn't cooperate. And totally agree with you, Cuban. I couldn't have said it better. MRE would do a perfect evisceration job of those elite pranksters, Lee. I hope he contacts you and you hand that stuff. That's my challenge to MRE. Contact me. Talk to me on the phone, MRE, and I'll help you out. You're asking me, MRE, what do I have? So I'm saying to you, MRE, get a hold of me. Don't send somebody else looking for my phone number. You get a hold of me, and we'll talk. Mazza gets a call a rat. No one to rat on, say, Calandra. Laugh out loud. I don't understand what you mean by that, but Calandra did go on Stack's show, and he ended the show with saying that he called me a motherfucker and he hated my guts. No matter where Jimmy Calandra goes, and when he talks about me, he curses and swears. It's vicious. Jimmy Calandra would like to strangle me with those little tender hands of his. You think of what's being said about Carmen Prisco. I think it's bullshit. I mean, there's like no evidence. They're talking about something from 50, 60 years ago. Does people realize the government can put anything out there and destroy anybody's life at any time and say that somebody said something? What, the government's the most powerful mafia in the world. Mob Rat Wars, no, he didn't. Okay. Ultra T, you are Gunner's secret lover. Okay, well, whatever. He is infatuated. All he does is talk about. I think it's Gunner, and I think that says it perfectly right. The FBI was outsmarted by Junior. That's what exactly right. Couldn't have said it better. But then you're gonna have people coming on here talking shit and really hurting themselves with their show and stuff. I mean, I don't know what you're getting out of this, JC, but you just said something. You should have just walked away instead of continuing it. What is your thing? Are you like, I don't understand. So what happened to the big Alite revealing? Jason, if you were here, we talked about this. We're not going to go over it again. So the best thing for you to do is go back and watch the show from the beginning. AC go, I wonder, was John Gotti Sr. would have thought about John Gotti Jr. The snake spent nearly all his adult life in jail. If he was a rat, he really, it didn't pay off for him exactly. That's like saying that Sonny Frances was a rat. I mean, there's certain people that it's hard to call a rat. Sonny's one of them, and so is Persico. You hit it right on the button. No, I wouldn't. That's all BS. That's just a myth. That's just a myth. That's all that is. That's just talk. That's a reason for him to come after me. That's all it is. No, I would not. Jimmy is extra mad at you for not liking. Jimmy is mad at me because I won't kiss Sammy's ass. Jimmy has a handler. His name is Sammy Gravano. That's his handler. Plain and simple. Iceman, you're right. Persico was not a rat. He did 150 years. I mean, if he was a rat, he was a lousy rat, right? When you really think about it. And one of your past show, Lee also called Junior a rat. You said a liar was a bigger one. Actually, go back and listen to that a little bit better. And if you know what's been going on since then, maybe you will understand. You can go back and do whatever I did. I did what I had to do to get what I got out of the Alites. And I got more shit out of the Alites than anybody ever has. Federal is 85%, not 2/3. Lee, what's the word on Sammy and MTV show? It's horrible. Anybody that watches that show has to really question themselves or their intelligence. It's horrible. It's a horrible show. That's not true. We're not going to get into that. Yeah, Whitey was sentenced to life, but he was the biggest rat. But you got to remember though, that whole Whitey thing was different. This is a friend of his that really pushed him through the FBI there. When the time came to it, Whitey was arrested. He was put in jail. And a matter of fact, the guy that was his handler was also put in jail for what he did with Whitey. So people got fired and went to jail for what they did with Whitey in the FBI. Detective interview by Jim. No, Sean, we were talking about that. If you read up on that detective, you would understand he's not a nice cop. That's the reality. Carmen Purcell, lifelong attorney, is going to be Justice Tech Pro's channel next day or two to put the BS story for the rest of us. Yeah, and that that's the funny thing. People just come out and say something like that about Persico, and it's most likely bullshit. And then all you're going to do is hear about how it was now, what he's like, that Carmine Persico was a snitch. People just hear it. And, it's like when they just hear news, they think it's true. There's absolutely no evidence. You got rats running all over YouTube saying they're not rats, or saying that they love kids and their lives are better now and they're for the kids. I hate that line, they're for the kids. They're so full of shit. For the kids. Most of them have an IQ of a bird. I've learned anything in life that are going to attack anyone, best have facts, or it's just today's gossip. That's true, Mickey. You know what? I'll be attacked today. I'll be attacked tomorrow. It doesn't matter. You got to have it in you to do these shows because the attacks are relentless, especially when you're dealing with a lot of crazy, naive fans that come on here and they become such a big part of it. Instead of just coming on to listen to stuff, they want to attack people and destroy their lives. Whitey is lucky jury. Yeah, and you got to remember, he sent them all to jail because he wanted to get them out of the way. They were competition to him. They were running the combat zone. They were running everything, in Boston. And Whitey wanted to have all the power. Whitey got more information off the FBI than the FBI. You got it. Whitey gave them a bunch of bullshit. And then what they did with Whitey, they gave them information, who was going to be busted, where they were going to be busted, everything. And Whitey even gave up his competition. Wars, you don't know what you're talking about. I'll leave it at that. Okay. Parasite. Some feds made up a lot about Whitey to cover up how Whitey outsmarted and used them. That's right. He outsmarted and he did use them. I love Swiss cheese. Does that make me a rat? No, Swiss cheese is awesome, especially if you get a really good one. Schmiegel is going to be selling designer umbrellas. It's amazing what that guy Schmiegel is getting away with. I mean, it's disgusting what Sammy Gravano is getting away with. Lee, most of your shows are attacking people. Again, you should enroll in the Joshua. But you know what, Horatio Sands? You come here every show to tell me that. So if you come here, you're a viewer. So you could tell me whatever you want. All scoring women is not a good source of proof. Yeah, ain't that the truth? I mean, just the deal, when one man deals with another man's ex-wife to get at that man, who's the bigger scumbag? Michael John Sr. would hate Okay, we already said that. What's your opinion on Kevin Weeks? Kevin Weeks is a free man. I mean, there's no doubt. And he killed a lot of people. And he's walking around acting like he did nothing wrong. Was going to say something dirty about him. I better not. Yes, he did. He definitely killed a few women. I'm going to go about a couple more minutes and then I will move on. And Mob Rats Wars, I think it's safe to go with his dad's evaluation. Schmiegel, the guy holding an umbrella for another man, yet insults him now that Gotti is dead. But Schmiegel wants you to believe he has the power behind the throne. Yeah, he has no power. You know, all he is a pathetic, horrible human being that has a spot waiting for him in hell. That's it. That's where he's going. He doesn't even ask for forgiveness. He acts like his life was okay for everything he did, including murdering Alan Kaiser. For the kid stuff is part of the grift. It's like all of them having a note nearby to remind them to slot that one in the midst of glorifying extreme violence for money. Yep, that's it. Actually, MRE does that pretty good when he goes, "It's for the kids." They all say that shit, and they're all full of shit. You don't see them with kids, and if you do see them with kids, they'd be arrested. John is waking around a free man also killed 20 minutes. Okay, Mob Rats, you're right about that. Senior was not alive during the time we are talking about. Junior isn't as bad as others, still sat with them. Does anybody realize that that man was in total lockup? I mean, he was in lockup 23 hours a day. He went on 5 trials. He only was able to get bail a couple times in the beginning. See, something doesn't make sense here. And just because the government says you're something, that doesn't mean you're something. Who's more corrupt than the government? Weeks is a tough guy, but he didn't actually kill anyone. Oh, please. Weeks killed people. Are you kidding me? Do you believe he actually didn't kill anyone? That's like saying Sammy Gravano didn't kill anyone. God forbid Sammy goes to hell. He'll take it over, that's for damn sure. Sammy better not have a partner in hell, because you know what's going to happen to that partner. If Sammy goes to hell and the devil's his partner, what's going to happen to the devil? I believe Frank Chico was the true power behind the Gambinos when John took the reins. You know, don't underestimate John Gotti. He had the best killers around him, and he was running stuff. John Gotti was running stuff. There's no doubt about that. I'm just going to write it. Okay. Francis was a gentleman in that trailer. Yeah, but, you know, do you guys think that trailer was fake? Or do you think that Sammy Gravano, being the psychopath he is, really jumped up and wanted to fight? Michael should have smacked him in his face. You know. 80-year-old man acting like he's going to kick someone's ass. You said John helped kids. Wow, you are a man of low morals. Who said John helped kids? I didn't see a kid that he helped. He couldn't present any evidence to me that he ever helped kids. I asked him for pictures and stuff. The pictures he gave me were a bunch of bullshit pictures. Guys, what happened to staying neutral? Feel free to speak on one, please. Sammy's in trouble with God if Alan Kaiser is his judgment for heaven. Alan Kaiser is his judgment for heaven. I think Sammy would still be game. Michael should have threw a leg his way. Or he should have just hit him in the shoulder. He would have fell right over. Kane Shay, going public doesn't make you an informant as long as you don't hurt your friends by doing YouTube videos. That's true. And nobody makes videos like Kane Shay does. Good videos. I mean, he sent me a video today that just cracked me up, the junior one. Hey, Lee, 2 questions. Are you going to do more shows with more fellow Mob 2 podcasters? Do you have any interviews lined up? Yes, I have interviews lined up. I got some really good interviews lined up. You'll see them. You know, I try to pull off good interviews of doing people, but I'm never going to judge who I'm interviewing. You know, that's the wrong thing that you can do. You can't just interview one side. You got to interview everybody if they want to come on your show. No one was afraid of Schmiegel. They were afraid of the Gambinos. Okay, I hear you. I'm still breaking the old rules. I don't know what you mean by that, my man. J.C. M. Cali, I'm the only honorable man left. That's what he said. Schmiegel learned attack mode. When in PC, call out someone when he knows the hacks are close by. Yeah, he was exactly. If you listen to Sammy Gavano's stories about being in prison, they're such bullshit, especially being around the white supremacists or the Aryan Nation. Sammy was a rat. The Aryan Nation would kill him. He was not around the area. He was hiding in his cell 23 hours a day. Actually, I've actually been thinking that, and I do have opportunities to get many wrestlers. But, you know, we'll see where it goes. Let's see what Tina says. Lee, you are the biggest joke, Lee. Thank you, Tina. I appreciate that. Do you feel better now? That's not your picture, Tina. You know that's not your picture because a smart girl wouldn't put her picture up like that. So the chances are you're a dude. What do you guys think? Is Tina a guy? Would a woman put up her picture like that and then come into this genre, the mafia? Tina, you're fake. Wasn't Sammy in Supermax in a terrorist? Yes, he was in Supermax. But he talks about how he went out into the yard and met with one of the supremacists and how he had Odin tattooed on him and this bullshit that people just listen to and believe. Lee, there is a difference between Aryan Nation and AB's prison gang. Yeah, you're right. You know what? I don't know that. I'm not an expert on that. But if you say there is, then there is. I'm sure you probably know more than me about it. Didn't that wrestler Dino Bravo? Yes, he did. He was involved in bootleg cigarettes. He was such a badass that he wasn't afraid of nobody. And they shot him in the head. And whoever shot him in the head, friend, because they let him in the house. They found Dino in the chair with the remote control in his hand and 6 bullets in his head. But whoever went after Dino knew that they didn't want Dino to get up off that chair. It had to be a friend because it was a snowstorm that night. It was just everything. It was definitely a friend, and it was over bootleg cigarettes and him not wanting. And they found $10,000 in cash in his closet. Was Sammy Gavano more afraid in jail, the white, brown, or black supremacists? Sammy Gavano was probably afraid of everybody, but he'll tell you that how tough he was. Lee, besides the current genre, which is one favorite? What is the genres you typically like? The mob one's hard to like because there's so many vicious people in here that just they just do horrible stuff, and they just get going, and the shit they do is incredible. I like a lot of people in here, but if I had to say which one, I'm a sports fan. You know, I love fantasy sports. I love baseball. I'm a huge baseball fan, as you can see behind me. I love UFC, absolutely. Kane Shade made FBS read the chat during Bodega, but Lee reads his own chat on his own show. Okay. Tina is a gay man, but I know gay rights advocates, leave her alone. Okay. Salmagutta is a Supermax, is in Supermax, and he should be out of jail. Check that case out. I will do that. I love when people say stuff like that. It's like that cop that was being interviewed by Jimmy Clander. Somebody sent a couple emails to me and said, check this guy out. And I checked him out. I was like, wow, this guy is like really corrupt. Lee has no morals. He played Alite helping a kid last week. Thank you, Tina. Or Louis or Bob, whatever your name is. Jimmy C is a cartoon character. He comes off, he wants to kill me. That I know. Sammy did talk to Paul Schneider in prison. Paul is an informant. I think Tina is either John or Jimmy. Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. You definitely know you definitely know it's not a woman. Just by the women don't talk like that. You know, just by the way they come off, you could tell it's not a woman. It's just some pathetic person. Lee, would Gunner have associated with Alites, Mazda gene types when he was doing his bit? Actually, I don't think so. Gunner did his bid with real, you know, come on. The Alites were in lockup, and Mazda and Gene was in lockup. Mazda, I don't know the story on him too much, so I can't say. But you know damn well that Gunner wasn't. Gunner did 13 years of hard time. So people could say what they want about the dude, but the dude did 13 years of hard time. And there's no ratting on any of his jackets. None. So I wouldn't compare Alites, Mazda, or Gene to Gunner. I just wouldn't. Gunner was a real man. Whether you like him or not, that's what it comes down to. Gunner did his time and did not rat. You cannot compare those three to Gunner. You just can't. What about Billy Jack Haynes and the Clinton stories and the stories behind? Very interesting stuff. And hopefully we'll get into that and talk about it, especially with Billy Jack Haynes. Tony Robbins, Kane Shade made FBS read the comments under my orders. I don't know what you guys are talking about, but it must. I'll ask Kane Shade what he says. What went on there? Say hi to Schmiegel, everyone, to watch these. Okay. The Ultimate Warrior was undergoes to Vince. Yes. Vince McMahon is the ultimate gangster. I mean, there's not a gangster like Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon has gotten away with murder. He's gotten away with so much stuff, covering up murders, covering up steroid use, covering up a sex scandal with children. Vince McMahon has gotten away with so much stuff. He's Teflon Don. Talking about historic mob stuff, don't make you a rat. When people talk about the street stuff that they did and mentioned their friends in a story, that is a rat move. Kane Shade, I don't talk about that. So everybody's entitled to their opinions, my man. Not anything about Gunner being solid, but why is he an associate with rats now that he's out? He had him on his show. I don't think he hangs out with them. He's friends with Mazda and he admits it. Sometimes people are just friends. You know. Did you hear that when Gunner's parole was over, he was at a restaurant. He challenged anybody that wanted to say anything to him to come to the restaurant and fight him. I mean, that's the first thing he did. He challenged everybody to a fight. He goes like, okay, I'm not on parole no more. or probation, whatever one he was on. Come get me. Here I am. I'm at this restaurant right now. No one I guess nobody showed up. Lee, did someone said you or Jeff can do without a wig? I told them it's not so. I would never wear a wig. A real man does not wear wigs. That's simple. Shave your damn head. There's nothing as embarrassing as comb overs and wearing wigs. Calandra flipped when he found out Paulie G was hit, and Calandra was next. Murder Machine was quite overrated, in my opinion. You're talking about the book Murder Machine with about Roy DeMeo and those people? Lee, do you think Michael Garnham tormented Schmiegel? No. Should have. Has a nice weave. What's up with everybody in talking about his hairpiece? Lee called, why do you allow your moderator to block people constantly? They just try to block some guy for joking like they were a liar. I have one moderator in here, and he's been a moderator and a friend of mine for a couple of years. He moderates and blocks for my son. He's always done a really good job. So if he did something, there must be a reason, because him and I have an agreement that not to knock anybody out. And he puts them on timeout. He doesn't kick them totally out, because when the show's over, what I do is I go see who got kicked out. And if there was a mistake made, I'll put them back. Sometimes there is a mistake made. There's no doubt about that. But it's a fair question. 75 tons of coke landed in Arkansas, rat confession in the Senate. A lot of stuff happened in the Clintons. Like you said, the Clintons were the gangsters. The Clintons got away with so much stuff. I mean, it's incredible the stuff they got away with, and they're still getting away with. Can we find out how much Schmiegel made from the trailer? Yeah. He's got to be laughing away to the bank. Do you think that Schmiegel ever said that he was going to get out of look at that, Schmiegel. MRE names him Schmiegel, and that's his name. It's going to stick. Gunner stories suck. It depends what you like. When I first started this, a couple days in, I interviewed Gunner, and if I could do it all over again, I would have to think twice about it, because he talks so much you can't get a word in. He doesn't stop talking. Yeah, Dominic Chiquito said Capici left a ton of info out of the book. They usually do. There's only so much information you can put in a book. There's the amount of stuff that's written and the amount of stuff that. Let me put it this way: I did some stories, newspaper stories, several times, and by the time that they hit the newspaper, 2/3 of the stuff that you said is done. It's gone. Sometimes more than that, and sometimes very important stuff. The editors decide what's going to stay in the stories. It's up to the editors and the lawyers. The lawyers don't want to be sued. What do you know about Toto Riena? Nothing. I cannot be more honest than that, but I will check into that name as soon as I'm done today. There's a couple names I got to check into, and that will be one. Thank you for bringing that up. What do you think, do you think Jeff might need anger management classes after you tore him up? I don't know. Do you think Jeff's still angry? How much money do you think Sammy and Frances will make from their future intervention sit down? Patrick O'Day stayed on, and we have $500K in an interview. They're probably going to get paid a lot of money because people are going to watch it. There's no doubt people are going to watch that interview. Why? I don't know. I just couldn't give Sam Ricoval any time. I was guilty when he first came out, and I was watching his shows. But then when you listen to Sam, he's a shit in a lot of his stories that he's telling. It's just not possible. people don't even know how involved he was in the Castellano hit. You know, Sammy says he was that involved. You know, nobody knows for sure. Maybe he was, but nobody knows. They got to be getting, I would think they're probably getting more than that. Who knows? Well, I'm not going to talk about that. That's politics. They don't like you talking about that stuff. I'm looking forward to seeing me and Michael interview. He was the boss of Sicilian Corleone's mom. Supposedly killed 200 people himself, not as many as Alito. Yeah, and ordered the deaths of 20,000. You know, those Sicilian bosses were brutal. I like the story about the Sicilian boss that moved to Brazil and became an informant. And they killed his 2 sons. They strangled the 2 sons that were back in Sicily because he ratted on. I'm sure, Beast, that you know who I'm talking about. He ratted. So what they did is a friend of his literally went and strangled the 2 sons. They tortured them. They never found the bodies. And both sons were strangled. And when the guy went to prison eventually, they told him what happened. His friend was feeling bad. He said, look, I strangled your sons because we were ordered to after you snitched on everybody. So this guy's in Brazil and he's snitching on everybody. And his sons are in Sicily. It wasn't a good move. And they killed his 2 sons. It's a very sad story, actually. I was just watching it on, I believe it was Netflix. Very, very sad story. Lee, besides genre, sports genre, political genre, what other genres most guys in your age group like? I don't know. I like genres that have to do with depends. Yes, I like, to hang out and we talk about depends. No, dude, I'm a big UFC fan. I'm a boxing fan. Those are the things I like. I don't do politics no more. I used to be an avid, but after the last election and everything that happened since that's going on, politics is a joke now. It's like all the decisions are made. We have no power. Us, the people, we are powerless. Jeff had a smooth wig last time. But there's a lot. You guys are really putting a lot of stuff in here. It was mafia war. Yes, Tommaso tried to kill himself before he became informant. Toto Relina was ruthless and after everyone. He sure did. And Beast, that's a fascinating story. The Beast has a great, if you want to really read good stuff, read about the Sicilian mafia. I mean, those guys were so brutal. And when they murdered Judge Falcone, this guy had bodyguards and everybody near him. And they literally blew up a highway to kill him. And do you know that they say that John Gotti sent over an explosive expert to Sicily so they can get to this Judge Falcone, because they didn't have anybody over there that knew enough explosive like this guy. So they literally sent someone from the family here to Sicily, and they blew up this road and killed him. Killed him, his wife, his bodyguards. They just blew the road up. It's an amazing story. It was incredible how they blew up the highway in Italy in order to kill an informant. Yeah. Well, they killed Falcone was an informant. He was a judge. But then again, the judge that was with him, a couple months later, he got murdered. So being a judge and going after the mafia in Sicily isn't too healthy. Pablo Escobar blew up a plane. Yeah, he sure did. He sure did. Calandra is pissed. Chris Ludsweet kicked him to the curb. I didn't know anything about that. They were brutal. Even some of them killed their family, sister, women, dogs, everything before they killed the snitcher himself. So he can't sit in a chair and watch the whole family die. Yep. That whole thing with Kaiser Sose it's true. when you really think about how people get knocked off. And anybody that knows the movie with Kaiser Sose, know they explained why Kaiser Sose became a mad killer. Lee, when you were in the comments on what was your job, I worked in a topless bar, and my job was to put the girls on and off stage. That's what I did. And then I would go to the peep shows and watch the girls that went into booths, make sure when the coins ran out that we would get the people out of the booths on time. And we would have to make sure the girls weren't prostituting, because the girls there would try to prostitute, and Teddy Venus didn't want any of the girls on the strip prostituting because they would shut businesses if they got caught prostituting. That was our job as guys. We'd have to watch the girls, make sure nobody bothered them. We had quite a bit of stuff to do. Rizzuto was probably the greatest boss, made most money, and he had all the, yeah, and then he became a shortstop for the New York Yankees. It's amazing, that story, Joey. Says he doesn't know who the Finns is, telling the story behind him. Dick. Okay. The Boot Hill crew in Sicily, the big difference, them in the U.S., they will kill cops, judges, priests, journalists, no truce with law enforcement. That's right. You know, and matter of fact, Mussolini started killing all of them back during World War II. And what happened? Eventually, they got to Mussolini. They hung him upside down. They hung his mistress upside down. And they won in the end. It seems like no matter how hard they go against the Sicilians, eventually they win. I'm not sure about any more, but eventually they win. Chris Pacello was said Gap was extremely frightened of Spiro. Well, a lot of people were frightened of Spiro. Spiro was a bad man that you did not. Well, look at Paulie G. He wasn't frightened of Spiro, and where did they get him? Rizzuto was in the UN underworld, had the Angels working with them, all street gangs. Thank you, Zagazu. Free world too. Okay, people, that's it. I've been on for an hour and 42 minutes. I didn't think I would stay on this long. Thank you once again. We should be doing a live show tomorrow. And when my website is ready with that information, I will let everybody know they can go to the website. And no one's going to be charged anything. You can go to the website and get that information on Jimmy and Johnny Alite. And also working with somebody else on something different. You'll know about that very shortly. But thank you. Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate it. Everybody take care. Have a nice night. Thank you.